The pounding passion of the Bahamas. This is a land of overpowering beauty. The natural power of nature, mixed with an 18th century calm that's reflected in the creatures and citizens here.
Can you get it down back? This is the regular picture right there.
And now, the culture of Wisconsin is embracing the rich island traditions. High school students from Marinette and Clintonville are here to study in a classroom unlike any other, the ocean.
Stuff you've never seen before. The ocean is so beautiful.
It's a magical opportunity.
It's gorgeous. I mean, to see that life just like floating by you is really cool.
In this Fox 11 News special report, minds and bodies will be tested as the students take in surf, sand, and study in the Bahamas.
I'm John Mercier. Welcome to Eleuthera. Eleuthera is one of 23 inhabited islands in the Bahamas. The first permanent settlement came here in 1648, when adventurers fleeing religious persecution in England and the Bahamas settled here, giving the island its name, which is actually Greek for freedom. This week, it's Northeast Wisconsin high school students experiencing freedom as they take in surf, sand, and study here on Eleuthera. Eleuthera is one of more than 700 Bahamian islands. It's located 240 miles east of Miami. The island is 100 miles long, but at its widest points only stretches a mile and a half. Eleuthera is surrounded by some of the clearest aqua water in the world. The island itself is a combination of breathtaking cliffs, calm, shallow bays, and abundant tropical plant life. Eleuthera's population, about 12,000. This week, the island's population grew by about 40 as 31 students and their teachers flew in. They landed here at the Governor's Harbor Airport on a hot, muggy afternoon, exhausted after a long day of travel, but excited as they begin the adventure of a lifetime.
This is my island, in the sun where my people have settled since time began.
Hey, we got 2 passengers supposed to be going back to Lotto.
After a series of long plane rides, the surf and sun of the Bahamas is a welcome sight. Not sure what they'll see, hear, or experience in the next week, the teens are anxious as they travel through the thick brush of the tropics to their new home away from home. For many of the teens, this is their first trip outside the United States.
When they first arrive, we do see this sense of wonderment. They're a little afraid, a little apprehension. What's going to happen to me next type of thing.
Jim Jordan founded the Marine Biology School 7 years ago.
This started as a thing we were going to try and get going, and we had 2 groups the first year that we did it, and it just snowballed. One teacher led to another teacher, to another school, to another state.
For the kids, it's a rare opportunity to snorkel and hike and actually touch what they're studying.
And our job is to see that you have the best time you've ever had on any trip.
So far, it's awesome, and we haven't even went scuba diving yet.
Nighttime is a good time for the teens. It means in just a few hours, they'll get their first dip in the warm ocean water.
This is my island.
A week of surf, sand, and study is just beginning for these high schoolers. In the week ahead, there will be adventures in and out of the water that will test their fitness, their confidence, and their character.
Before they can experience the beauty of the ocean, these teens will have to learn how to handle the pounding surf.
You should be able to inhale at this point and not get any air or feel any water bubbles.
In the harbor, and I hold secret to the Lady Martha.
The water looks smooth and beautiful, and on parts of the island, it is. But always lurking are the strong currents and unpredictable waves that can destroy an afternoon or a life.
Or taking off your fin. So try and pull on both straps, kind of at the same time.
That's why getting gear
It's comfortable for you?
is about much more than just finding the right size fin or mast.
A wave will come and knock your fins out of your hands if you don't listen to what we're saying, if you don't get in properly.
How does this feel? Okay, that might be a little bit too tight.
Try and pull that band off real quick for me.
A little bit higher, right just below the crown of your head.
Selecting the proper size gear will help ensure that the long snorkels ahead go as planned. Our first journey into the warm Eleutheran surf is a safety dive.
Place the mask on your face first, and then pull the strap over.
The water is shallow, and the students learn snorkeling basics.
Keep your face down, standing up. Keep your face in the water.
Lessons learned here in 3 feet of water will be crucial once the snorkeling moves out into the open ocean, where the sea floor can be down hundreds of feet. The instruction is critical, and once students have received that instruction and checked their equipment, the fun part of the dive begins. That's when they actually get to begin to snorkel. Alabaster Bay teems with marine life. Stingrays, schools of tropical, colorful fish, breathtaking coral. It's all just a short snorkel from shore.
It was kind of scary until you got used to it. You felt like you were not supposed to breathe under the water.
I saw a couple barracudas this morning, starfish.
Saw a lot of fish on that last one around the ledge over there, and we saw a shark too.
Many students climb out of the water in awe.
It doesn't seem like you're really there, or that owl that's right there to see. You only see it on TV or in books. I've been having lots of fun, and this is my first time in the ocean, so it's pretty cool. It's really cool, and I'm really glad I got a chance to come down here and see it.
And this is only a tiny peek at what the high schoolers will experience in the coming days.
Let's have some fun.
Most of the week's activities involve the students being in the water, but there are days where there's as much hiking as swimming. Leaders here at the Institute of Marine Biology know that time spent on land can be as valuable as time spent in the water. The mystery of Eleuthera lies not only in her turquoise water, but also in her diverse geology. On day 3, the students take a break from the water and discover some of the island's unique topography.
I don't know of another cave in the Bahamas that has these types of formations.
And until the cave was only recently rediscovered, the bats were the only sign of life in here.
The tidal and current surges washed all of these caverns out, and you can just see how it looks like part of Grand Canyon.
Amid the smell of mold and the quiet dripping of water, the teens are tense in this uncharted territory.
Most of the snakes here are not poisonous.
The cave is humid and extremely dark, and it's an eerie feeling looking at cave writing that's been here for more than a century.
This is a very tarry type substance, and when you write on the wall with it, and that's how all these names were put up here well over 100 years ago.
You get to see a lot of pictures and stuff in magazines and all that, and finally you get to see that stuff. Stalagmites, stalactites.
It's very slippery here, though, so be very careful.
And just as the teens begin to get comfortable, the pace changes. We head down another story into a cavern filled waist deep with water. And this chilly water feels more like Lake Michigan than the Bahamas. After 15 minutes of waist-deep wading and hands-on history, it's time to leave the cave. And leaving may be the toughest part of the journey.
Do not stretch out from the ladder. Hug the ladder. That's it. There you go.
We must scale a 20-foot stone face on a rope ladder.
I'm not afraid of heights.
Many of the teens are nervous, but everyone makes it.
Take your time, one step at a time.
I like climbing up the ladder when we had to climb up on the rope ladder. I thought that was fun.
When we went through the water, walking through that was pretty cold right away.
I think there's a lot more stuff to the Bahamas, than just the water, and you finally get to see that.
The teens keep written records of all the things they observe. Hiking activities are detailed.
We saw a lot of those. We saw that one.
And a dive log documents every plant and animal seen underwater.
I saw sea walnut.
The jellyfish were hard to avoid.
This is not just a week for fun. It's also about learning.
And just filling these out helps you on the next dive because you're gonna look at things a little more closely.
And by the end of these long days, most of the students are eager to look at their beds more closely. The nightly study sessions and dive logs reinforce what the students learn here on the island. It also gives each teen a written record of his trip and a handy reference source. Still to come, some Bahamian history. Learning the lessons taught here on the island can often be a tremendous amount of work. It involves a hike sometimes through the brush and over rocks to arrive at locations ideal for studying marine biology. And for many of these students, the journey to Turtle Hole and the snorkel that followed was a highlight of the trip. Another day awakened with a traditional Bahamian greeting, but this day will be like no other that the teens have ever experienced. Turtle Hole is a 45-minute hike through thick, uncut brush.
It's a very deep sinkhole, so be careful.
And the treacherous terrain is not the only potential problem.
Yeah, when I see poisonwood, I point it out.
The students all carry their snorkel gear on their back.
Twisting, turning, winding trails over sinkholes. We occasionally get a rain shower in there, and by the time the students get there, they feel like they've really accomplished something.
Dripping with humidity and bitten by unseen bugs, we finally arrive at the water.
It was a long hike. I'm glad to see the ocean.
Oh, it was real long and took a long time. I had to watch your foot and watch out for the rocks. Didn't want to trip over the log and fall in one of them big sinkholes.
This is the one point we hear the most off-the-cuff complaints from kids on, and it's also the point that the teachers tell us that the kids remember, and it's like a badge of honor to have made that hike.
And now, with only a moment to catch their breath, the students prepare for the longest snorkel of the week.
Yeah, your legs can kind of feel it after a while.
You tired?
I'm kind of now. I'm kind of exhausted.
Turtle Hole is a series of sea caves and narrow cuts in the island's rocky cliffs. The cliffs were carved out by the Atlantic Ocean over millions of years. It's here that much of the island's abundant marine life can be found.